Welcome back to the UK.
Thanks for having me again.
Likewise, you're here with UK, and they've done an amazing job today in terms of organising a conference, but I'm still trying to be out here to be the #1 most interviews with Gary Vaynerchuk in the UK. So eventually, when everybody else clocks on to the business genius that you've got, that people can say, you know what, I need some of that footage, I'll license it.
You've got it.
Jokes aside,
yes.
Welcome back, brother.
Thank you.
It's always amazing to see you in the UK. Thank you for continuing to put out great work. What I wanted to ask you first was, what was the reaction like when you got back to the office post-VaynerWorld? Did some of the staff see the content back at VaynerMedia?
Absolutely. I mean, you guys crushed that event. Like, it became a gold standard conversation with Nate and my new assistant DeMeo and Steve quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I mean, you know, I don't have to say this in public to make you feel good, but I thought that was an extremely strong event, and I thought you did a great job, and I love that event.
Nice, nice. And thank you so much for putting out so much of the content from that event on your own YouTube.
Trying to make sure you win.
So well, I appreciate that. I want to ask you one question. You referred to in your talk just now that your next book, your final in your series, might be Crushed It.
Yes.
One thing that I was thinking a lot about is obviously it's been 30 months, you've gone from 20 people to 400 people in New York. Is that book the right opportunity? Is the next book the right opportunity for you to really look under the hood at the nuts and bolts of how you rapidly expand an agency or any business in that period of time?
I think that you're barking up the right tree. You know my content so well that you know that I don't talk a lot about the fact that I've now built my second business. You know, VaynerMedia went from $4 to $40 million in revenue in 36 months. Very similar track to Wine Library. And the truth is, here I am 7 years of putting out content, and I haven't really put out the blueprint to how I've taken two companies from a small base to a very large base in a shockingly fast time.
People overlook the fact that a lot of your books are truly about mastery. They're about giving something out once you confidently know what it is.
I don't know if I'm ready to articulate how I do it, but I do know that you know, it's really funny you brought this up, and this is, again, I appreciate you asking this question because it lets me talk about it, so thank you. I do think the best book I'll ever write is the detailed version of how I do it. I don't think I'm ready. This is, you know, I never talk about myself this way. I don't think I'm matured enough just yet. I wrote Crush It a year too early. That's a little kind of weird statement. The book that put me on the map was written 1 year too early. Right. Because I feel like I could have made it meatier and better, but it was like my book. It was the book that I needed to write. I believe the two other books that I need to write are Perfectly Parented, which is my life of how my mom raised me as an entrepreneur, how to raise an entrepreneur, and this how to build a business, you know, how to grow a business 10x in 36 months. And I'll never call it that because it's too, you know, spammy, and I'll call it something like the 36-month window. The
36 chambers type
Yeah,
flip.
exactly. I'll come up with something like that. But I don't think I'm ready to write it because I'm in the middle of doing only my second one. My gut tells me after I do 3, I'll be in my 40s. There's going to be a time, but I'm constantly gut checking myself. Am I ready to write that book? The truth is, I don't think I'm ready to write that book because it's going to be my signature book, because it's the signature thing that I do. When people realize in 10 or 15 years, when I have 4 businesses under my belt that I've grown in these rapid period of times, I'll have the street cred plus the better nuanced knowledge of how to articulate it in book form. And who knows what book form will be then, maybe it's video chapters, but I'm just not ready to write it.
One thing you are ready for, though, is overseas expansion. Tell me a little bit about what your international clients like Dove and Campbell's are saying about having you in other territories, and what are the priority territories for you? Is it the classics, Londons and Singapores of the world, or where is your mind state at with that?
Our mind state right now is at Singapore, Brazil, and London.
Okay, and you've been the head of HR for all of your company. You've got to 400 people, as you rightly mentioned in your talk at IM UK today, that the scale is becoming crazy, as it did with you when it came to email 2-3 years ago. How do you expect to approach hiring and especially maintaining culture? Because you're a well-traveled chap. You know that the rah-rah and let's play foosball at lunch culture doesn't really exist that much in London and Singapore. How are you going to maintain that culture? How are you going to ensure that the DNA of the company grows, expands?
Dictatorship. There's just going to be no other option. Right. There's no other options. And I'm not crippled by casualties of war.
But dictators need to maintain what they're doing. I mean, how can Gary be in 2 or 3 countries at once?
Dictators can't win unless they have their homies and their cronies and their people, you know? And So it's about the 12 to 20 people underneath me
Right.
that are going to be able to scale me.
Okay. Vayner RSC, you launched it at 25 million. Why?
You know, I didn't want to lose too much money.
Right,
The truth
okay.
is, you know, I've angel invested. I like to crawl before I run. I didn't need to raise $100 or $200 million. I did it with a small couple $1 million for myself. 25 felt like the logical next step.
Yeah.
If I feel good about this, then I'll raise a $100 or $200 million fund. But right now, I want to learn with this number.
All right, man. Well, listen, thank you so much. Much
Thank you.
respect. Keep it running real quick because I want to make one final point that just blew me away. You always come with one jewel. And I took away today that teenage girls are putting more effort into a selfie on Instagram, getting the lighting right for 20 minutes and the filters, and then monitoring and iterating their content than most small to medium businesses are doing. True?
True.
100%, right?
100%. Because they're living in the world that is the future, and that's why they're doing it, and that's where all the opportunity lies.
All right. Much love, my brother. I always respect
Stay
you,
well.
man.